G'day and welcome to Inside Rugby. If you haven't been here before, well, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan who's living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about a very exciting project that's going to happen early in 2024. Okay, so thanks very much for watching my video. It's a special one today because I've got some special announcements to make about what's going to happen in 2024. Now, I've been a rugby fan all my life. I'm a Kiwi, so I'm very passionate about the game. And even though I'm living here in beautiful Mexico, I'm still really passionate about rugby. In fact, the reason I started this YouTube channel was I just wanted to connect with a rugby community across the world, and I thought that might be a really cool thing to do just before the Rugby World Cup. And I never really had any plans or ideas of what I was going to do with this YouTube channel. In fact, I didn't think at all I was going to get the kind of following and numbers that are happening on this channel. So that's a good thing. And now I want to put that to good use and I want to make a difference. If you don't know, earlier this year in 2023, my wife and I went to the UK and I did an 800-kilometre run through the southern part of England, all the way up through Wales and finishing very close to Liverpool. And the reason I did that run was I wanted to do something to give back to the world of rugby, and I wanted to learn what was going on in the sport of rugby in that part of the world, and it was a very interesting journey. I found out two things. The first one was that the state of rugby in the UK and Wales is a little bit desperate at the moment. A lot of clubs are doing it very tough financially. And I spent a lot of time talking to representatives at those clubs, a lot of the presidents of the clubs, a lot of the club's administrators, and they told me some of the challenges that rugby was facing in their respective country. And then the other thing I found was mental health issues within the sport of rugby, and there was a lot of things going on that made me very sad. In fact, during that time when I ran that 800 kilometers through the UK on that run for rugby, 4 people took their own lives in the rugby community in the UK, and that was a very sad outcome. So I was trying to highlight the fact that more needs to be done by the sport of rugby when it comes to mental health well-being of not only rugby players but also coaches, officials and administrators, because everybody gets affected. Now, I want to take the lessons I've learned from that particular project and I want to go back to my home country of New Zealand and do something there to make a difference in the sport of rugby. So my wife and I have been talking about it, and what I want to do now is I want to run the entire length of New Zealand. That's right, from Cape Reinga in the very north of the North Island right down to Bluff in the bottom of the South Island. It's a journey of 2,200 kilometers, and I'm going to run every single footstep. And I'm going to do it because I want to promote the sport of rugby not only in New Zealand but around the world. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to tell the New Zealand rugby story. We're going to visit clubs all the way across the country of New Zealand, and we're going to talk to players, we're going to talk to officials, we're going to talk to mums and dads, we're going to talk to sponsors and why they get on board sponsoring rugby in New Zealand, and we're going to get some fantastic stories on the history of rugby from the different parts of New Zealand. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so buzzed about this project, and that's why I want to share it with you today in this video. Now, I haven't been back to New Zealand in the past 45 years. That's right, I'm a Kiwi that's been living most of my life around the world, working in the corporate life and doing all those things, and now I find myself here in Cancun in Mexico. But now it's time to go home, and I want to go home and I want to make a difference when I go home. So this idea, this project of running through New Zealand, supporting the sport that I love so much in rugby, and going back to my home country, going back to my roots. I'm going to go to New Plymouth and Taranaki, where I was born and where I went to school and where I played rugby, and I'm going to show you all that journey as we go through it. It's going to be hugely exciting, and I've got goosebumps just talking about it. So what do I want the outcome of this project to be? Well, a number of things really. First of all, I want to tell the story of how important rugby is to New Zealanders, and by having conversations with players, men and women, boys and girls, school teachers, coaches, officials, sponsors, and parents of players. We're going to share that story about what rugby really means to Kiwis and how important it is not only to our communities but also to our culture. The other thing is, I want to share with you on this platform the history of New Zealand rugby, and you might learn a lot of things, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot of things about rugby in New Zealand, where it came from, how it expanded, the key stakeholders that were involved in that journey, and what's truly happening to rugby in New Zealand today. We're going to visit some of the smallest rugby clubs in New Zealand. We're going to visit some of the largest rugby clubs in New Zealand. We're going to talk to All Blacks, but we're also going to talk to a lot of people in grassroots rugby and understand what's going on. And if you're watching this from anywhere in the world, you'll be able to relate to it and say, well, yeah, that's happening in our country as well, and we need to do this to fix the sport of rugby. And that's what I really want this project to uncover. I want us to come together as a global community around this fantastic sport that we all love, which is rugby, and just continue to make it better, continue to play our little roles in whatever we can do to make the sport of rugby even better for the next generation. Now, Run for Rugby New Zealand 2024 is going to be a self-funded project to start off with. I've got no sponsors or partners in the pipeline at the moment. I'm putting this video out there to see what the universe can do to help us. And here's a slide to show you some of the areas in which we're going to need help. Now, you might have a brother, a sister, a cousin, or a connection to somebody who's working in this particular industry where we need some help. Why not put them in touch with us and see whether we can work out a win-win collaboration so that we can actually make this project come to life and really do the best job that we possibly can in promoting rugby throughout New Zealand and telling the New Zealand rugby story to the rest of the world. That's what we really want to achieve. And if you can help us in any way around some of those things, then Louisa and I would be really grateful for that. Now, we're going to start the run at the beginning of the rugby season. The first game of the rugby season officially is around the 23rd of February. We're going to aim to be in New Zealand in early March, and as I said, we're going to start from Cape Reinga in the very north of New Zealand's North Island, and I'm going to head down the west coast of New Zealand's North Island to New Plymouth, where I was born. We're going to spend a day or two there, and then we're going to move on down to Wellington. We'll cross on the ferry to the South Island, and we'll pick it up again heading down the east coast of the South Island to places like Christchurch and Dunedin, and further down until we get to Bluff in the bottom of New Zealand. Now, as far as initial media goes for this project, we're going to be posting a lot of content right here on the YouTube channel. So we're going to be doing live streaming, we're going to have chats available where you can get on and participate. We're going to upload daily videos from the road and me running in the towns we're going through, the people we're meeting, the interviews we're doing at rugby clubs, and just the beautiful New Zealand scenery and all the wonderful things that we get to do. Tasting the New Zealand food again, which is going to be one of the super exciting things for me as well. So the Inside Rugby YouTube channel is going to be the initial platform where we put all this content. You're going to be able to follow the journey. You're going to be able to participate and interact with us right here on this channel. Now, nothing's going to change with the channel besides this. This is not going to consume the whole channel. Of course, we'll be busy with the project when we're in New Zealand, but I'll be going to rugby games. I'll be reviewing rugby games like I have been before on this channel, and I'll continue to do interviews and a lot of other content as well. So don't get concerned that this channel is going to just change into this particular project. That's not going to be the case. I've got plenty of other exciting content planned and in the pipeline already for Inside Rugby with Mark, so make sure you stick around for that. So how's this going to work logistically? Well, every day I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to start running from wherever we stayed the night before. Louisa's going to be in a motorhome, and that's going to be our comfort features for the part of this trip for us to sleep in, eat in, and also to visit rugby clubs around the country. I'll run as much as I can each day between different cities and towns in New Zealand, and then we'll stop and we'll talk to those representatives at rugby clubs. We'll get up the next day and we'll do it again until we've done the 2,200 kilometers of running. Another thing that I'm really excited about with this project is telling the story of the Pacific Islanders in New Zealand as well. A lot of people around the world don't know the importance and the impact the Pacific Islanders have had on New Zealand rugby over the year, and that's part of the community that I'm going to really get connected with this project, tell their stories and show what impact they have had over the years on New Zealand rugby and what impact they're having today. And as we saw at the Rugby World Cup with Fiji and Tonga and Samoa, we saw some amazing games, amazing players and amazing potential, and a lot of that already exists in New Zealand as well, so we want to tell that story. So there we go, Run for Rugby New Zealand 2024, a 2,200 kilometre solo run through New Zealand to promote but also to tell the story of New Zealand rugby with the world, and that's what this is all about. So if you can help out in some way, or if you want to be involved in this project, you might be a school teacher in New Zealand, you might work for a rugby provincial office in New Zealand, you might be someone who owns a motorhome company in New Zealand that wants to help us, please reach out and contact me and we can start a conversation. That's all it takes, and we can see where it leads. I've got to go and get fit and ready and healthy for this trip. My beautiful wife is putting together all the plans. She needs to be an effective crew member and help me out and keep me surviving on the road every day. It's going to be an epic adventure. Don't miss it. It's going to happen right here on Inside Rugby on YouTube. So make sure you smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and tell me in the comments how you can help out, how you want to be involved, and what excites you the most about this particular project. I'd love to hear from you all. Okay, that's it for this video. Hope I got the message across. Hope I'm showing my excitement in this particular project. I would love you to come along and be part of this project in any way that you can. And if you're in New Zealand, you want to come running with me on one of the days, put on your running shoes and let's get out there and do a few kilometers together as well. That would be really, really exciting. Video, thank you very much for watching the video. Thank you very much for your support in advance if you can help us out. But thanks very much for just being part of this wonderful community on here with Inside Rugby with Mark. I'll be back again soon with some more content. Until then, everybody stay safe and stay well. And until next time, bye for now.